But the Great Green Wall initiative, I know the federal government, from the reports for last year, said we made remarkable progress in that area. Would you say the Great Green Wall initiative helped?
The Great Green Wall initiative, we've had two initiatives. One was done about 15 years ago or so, and there was a lot of money put into it. And that Great Green Wall is an initiative of planting, as you know, millions and millions of trees. But when you're planting these trees in this kind of arid situation, it's not just that you plant it this year and you leave the tree. Sometimes it's a 3-year process. You plant it this year, you have to put irrigation in place, and then next year you continue irrigating, and for 2 or 3 years. And that one that was done 15 years ago, the trees were planted in the first year. And then nothing happened in the second year, apart from the fact that the people who planted those trees, all of a sudden they planted houses in their local communities. So that one collapsed. We're now doing another Great Green Wall project. And we believe that this one will be done far more expeditiously. This one will be done with a bit more integrity. Why? Because people's lives are at stake. The security of this country is at stake. And it's a very big initiative. We're getting some very encouraging reports. Other countries are doing their Green Wall. It's right across Africa. A huge green wall of trees and trees to help to hold back the desert. Nigeria has been a little bit slow in starting her own, but from what we're hearing, it's going very well. And you have people like Newton Jubono involved. And when you have that caliber of people involved, it'll go well.
One area that a lot of people were looking forward to last year, to hearing a lot of information and good news about remediation of impacted sites, especially in the Niger Delta. Now, pollution by oil companies. We heard that a lot of cleanups were done last year, and we heard that more will still be done. But would you say in 2013 they did a lot of mopping up?
Well, the reality is that there's so much mopping up to be done. And this comes from reading the report that was done by the UNDP. They did a report on oil pollution in the Niger Delta, and it was shocking to everybody because the amount of pollution in that area, it is vast and it is deeply entrenched. And oil pollution is not just on the surface of the water, which is reasonably okay to clean. If it stays too long, it now goes into the water bed, into the river bed, and it goes deep into the soil. It's a very, very big problem, and definitely we have not done enough to address this. Jennifer, you can imagine a situation whereby a young man in days gone by, an Ijaw man, would now take a boat to his school. Coming back, he would just be catching fresh fish from the water and going home and cooking that fresh fish. Now, this same water, he dare not even swim in that water because it's so polluted he could make himself sick. This also is a risk issue because this will cause all sorts of insecurity, definitely. Water that I used to catch fish, and I can't swim in that water anymore, and you want me to just sit down and be peaceful? It's not possible.
But the problem I have with a lot of, I'm glad you're an environment activist. Now, maybe, because some people have analyzed it that way, environment activists in Nigeria are not as vibrant as they ought to be. Because I know that if, for instance, we had groups like Greenpeace and Oxfam in Nigeria, maybe we'll be hearing of some daring moves in places like the Niger Delta or in other parts of the country where we have major environmental issues affecting the lives of people, the environment, and their livelihoods. So how come we're not having strong displays, demonstrations, and participations by civil society groups?
That's a very good question. I think what's happening here is our nature as Nigerians. We're actually, you know, we're actually very loving people. Despite all appearances, we might abuse, we might shout, but you know, you just check us out. If a little accident happens on the road, you come and see 100 people will just rush. Can I help? Can I help? Can I help? You know, we have that lovingness in our nature that doesn't want to make us too aggressive. But on the other side, what has happened is that people have actually jumped over this thing of just, you know, making a protest and just making some big noise like the Greenpeace people will do. They'll go and climb a very tall tower, which is very dangerous, or they'll go to the high sea, put a flag around a big ship. We've jumped across that, and what has actually happened is that people have just gone into direct militancy. So instead of just protesting, like in the northern area now, where those people have lost everything, hungry man is an angry man, a man without water becomes a madman. So instead of just protesting, he'll strap a explosive around his chest and blow himself up. This is what's happening. Likewise, in the Niger Delta area, we were having a lot of very extreme militancy as a result of what the people were subjected to. It's very difficult for a person in that situation to remain peaceful when, he sees what has happened to his land. He sees the terrible degradation that has gone on where he grew up, where he used to have a very lovely environment that would give you fresh fish. He can't even put his hand inside that water now because the hand will get poisoned. He can't sleep at night because 24/7 you have daylight is coming because of gas flaring, and people have been telling you for years and years, for the last 20 years, oh, we shall cut out the gas flaring. Oh, there'll be a plan, a 2-year plan, a 4-year plan to cut out the gas flaring. Meanwhile, 20 years later, the gas is still flaring. Yeah, and what makes it even worse, that gas flare now creates acid rain. So where they even used to get, as if it wasn't bad enough that they can't get fresh fish, you now can't even get fresh cassava or fresh yam from that land because the acid has just come down and destroyed the land. So instead of just protesting, these guys just decided, let's get militant, let's get serious about it. And luckily that militancy has not raised its head again. The only real militancy we're having is in the north, and believe you me, Joy Ogu was 100% right. One of the major causes of that was environmental
degradation. What can civil society groups do?
Civil society groups need to really, really just lobby government in any way that they can.
But do you think they're lobbying enough?
No. We need a far more lobbying than this. They're not taking environment seriously enough. And the reality is that environment is the most serious thing that we have. Protecting the environment is the most important cause that we have. Look, everything you rely on to survive and to look beautiful or just to look good